Hello, hello. It's me again, David Jones at Tenacious D Jones on Twitter, Tenacious D Jones on the DraftKings app. Hopefully, up top the leaderboard, tied with you or some fellow Mayo Media Network listeners or FTN subscribers. Please do us a favor, smash that like button right underneath you, right there on the YouTube screen, and subscribe to the channel if you are not already. A ton of great content always pouring out of the Mayo Media Network. I am with FTN Daily, Fade the Noise Daily, and Fade the Noise Bets. Check out the websites, FTN Bets and FTNDaily.com. And go check out some of our free tools, including the wide receiver cornerback matchup tool, which is personally my favorite tool on the website. And it's free. You just have to have an account. And then you can look over who has the best matchups on the week. You can sort for your playoffs are here. You're trying to win the playoffs in your home leagues. You can sort by which receivers have the best matchups. And more importantly, which ones have the worst matchups. So you are not starting the wrong guy. Anyways, we're here to talk about the Chargers and the Raiders on the Thursday night showdown special, specifically on DraftKings, $500,000 up top to first. These showdown slates have gotten large, $500K to first. That's a big. DraftKings is rolling out a Millie Maker every chance they get, and this is just half as good, but half as many people in it. 500,000 up top. Can't complain about that. You've got the Raiders favored by 3.5 going up against the Chargers. Raiders at home in Las Vegas. The over-under is 53 for this game. I think we see a lot of points in this game. We have two bad defenses, both on the ground and through the air, and two capable quarterbacks. The question mark here is the offensive skill players for these quarterbacks. So Mike Williams was dealing with a back issue. He had to come out the last game against Atlanta, receiving no targets, but he practiced on Tuesday. He's practicing Wednesday. It looks like he's probably going to give it a go. But you just have to wait and see if Mike Williams is going to play. If Mike Williams is out, we saw Tyron Johnson step up in a big way last week, coming in with 6 catches on 7 receptions for a touchdown and 55 yards. And then you also have Jalen Guyton there that can soak up some of that usage. But we also saw, when the number 2's out, Mike Williams, if he were to be out, more volume would go to Keenan Allen, you would have to think. And even Austin Ekeler in that pass game, maybe Justin Jackson, Kalen Ballage. We'll just have to see. I think Mike Williams plays. Got to keep an eye on it. Josh Jacobs is going to play this game. I know he gave us all a scare. Probably lost a lot of fans, quite frankly, when he put on Snapchat he was not going to be playing last week. Then he went out and played. Some people, I'm sure, pulled him and lost their fantasy, if they're in their playoffs already, lost that game, or getting into the playoffs, however your league does it. Not a big Josh Jacobs fan. Because of that, I'm a big fan of him because of the school he went to. He went to my school in college. Anyways, we also have to look at the wide receivers for the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm still getting used to saying that. They are dealing with some injuries too over on their side. Henry Ruggs, the rookie, the first rookie taken out of the draft this year, is going to miss because of COVID protocols. He does not have COVID. He was just in close contact, so you have to keep him out 5 days. He's not going to play. So let's start breaking it down. Pull up the prices over on DraftKings, and we'll go through it. Justin Herbert, the rookie sensation. So I'm told he's been pretty good the beginning of the season. He's kind of slowed down here towards the end. Got blown out bad by the Pats, and hasn't been putting up the numbers the past 3 weeks. However, still a very good quarterback. The Chargers got a steal on that one. Going up against the Raiders, who are 13th against the quarterback. However, they're 22nd against the wide receiver. How does that work? Well, it just depends on if he's going to get sacked or not. If the wide receivers are going to be able to break the coverage, it depends on the cornerback, secondary, safeties that are going to be available for the Raiders. Look, still not very good. The Raiders are allowing 2 touchdowns through the air over the past 3 games, but actually so are the Chargers, allowing the exact same amount. So we know that we're going to get a lot of points in this one, you would think. Justin Herbert, most expensive player, $17,700. I think you can fit him up in the captain spot if you want to, because we have some very cheap options this week with a couple of the players potentially being ruling out, Williams and Ruggs. You can fit him up there, a lot like how Lamar Jackson was your captain 2 slates ago because you had some very cheap options to go to on DraftKings. You could fit a quarterback up there, but if you saw the last Ravens slate, Lamar Jackson was not the captain. That was Kareem Hunt because he was the best value. I think on this slate you can do that and feel okay about it. By that I mean put Herbert up at the captain spot, but you're going to have to take a couple cheap shots. He is my captain too. I would rather have Keenan Allen, who's listed right behind him. He's got a questionable tag, but he should play. The Chargers' main guy, clearly getting a ton of targets every single game, $16,500. I mean, try and find a game where this guy hasn't been targeted double digit times. It's happened 3 times this season. Once was a complete fluke back in like week 5 or 6 against New Orleans. The past 4 games, 11 targets against Atlanta, 11 targets against New England in a game that got totally blown out and the starters got pulled. At Buffalo, 10 targets. At the New York Jets, 19. Go figure. You figure you don't need a lot of targets against the Jets, but he got them. It was 16 catches. This guy can put up over 100 yards. He can put up a touchdown easy. He can break 20 DraftKings points. He's my favorite captain, especially if Mike Williams is a little beat up. Look, if he plays, he's good to go. That's fine, but I still wouldn't think he's 100%. He missed the whole last game, and you're coming off a short week. And it's primetime Keenan Allen. Put Keenan Allen in, let him ball. He's my top captain. I will pay the $16,500 for him. Below him, you have Austin Ekeler, $15,600 at the captain spot, going up against Vegas, who ranks 29th against the running back. So do we want to target the run game? Do we want to target the pass game? I don't think it really matters because both are very bad. So Austin Ekeler is going to be backed up by Kalen Ballage, who isn't going to do much, especially if Williams is in, especially if it's a close game. And then you have Justin Jackson, who can be a pass catcher, who would play more if Williams was out, but we think Williams is going to be in. You can look at those backup running backs if you want to. I don't think you need to get there, and I'm not going to have a lot of them. This isn't, to me, like a Ravens situation where you have 3 capable backs, 4 really, that can get in there and take carries from one another. We know that Austin Ekeler, nose itch. We know that Austin Ekeler is going to be the guy in the pass game, in the run game. I like him too. I've got him ranked as my 4th favorite captain, $15,600. Gets even better if Mike Williams is out, but you can do whatever you want against these Raiders, potentially. So all the Chargers guys are good, but look, the top 3 players are Chargers guys. So can you make a lineup with Herbert, Allen, and Ekeler? Yeah, probably. And then you're punting with some of the cheap wide receivers for Vegas. I mean, that makes sense. But when you have the top 3 guys all on the same team priced up high, usually all 3 of them aren't in the same lineup. Just going to throw that out there. Derek Carr going up against the Chargers, 21st against the quarterback. Again, he's looked good. He's going to be missing Ruggs this week, but does that matter that much? I don't know that it really does, because you have guys like Bryan Edwards who can step in, even Zay Jones, even though they may be seeing a lot of Casey Hayward, which is not good. You also think these wide receivers move it around a little bit. You might put Casey Hayward on someone like Agholor or Renfrow, who has been having clearly a better season, clearly more talented players. We kind of have to see how that shakes out. On the matchup tool, we've got Casey Hayward going up against Zay or Bryan Edwards, Zay Jones or Bryan Edwards. We just have to wait till it gets a little bit closer. But these guys are so cheap, like that you just need a couple passes and 40, 50 yards if they get a touchdown, then they are going to be on the winning lineup for sure. Anyways, Derek Carr, I've got him ranked as my 3rd captain. I'm spinning up for captain this time around. You can throw on the Chargers too. Look, you've got Nelson Agholor, going to see a lot of Michael Davis. You've got Hunter Renfrow, who's going to see Chris Harris, who's giving up 68% of the catches, or 68% of the targets to him as catches the entire season. Did that come out right? I don't know. He's given up more than Davis or Casey Hayward for sure. Hunter Renfrow's in the best spot, and then you've got Darren Waller and Josh Jacobs who can catch. So Carr can still throw it around, and he's the cheapest one out of those 4 guys that I listed: Herbert, Allen, Ekeler, Carr. Carr makes a decent captain too. My rankings for captain are Allen, Herbert, Carr, and Ekeler. And then you can maybe even punt with this guy right below him, Darren Waller. So $14,100. You can also throw on the Chargers tight end coverage. I mean, this is a game that should have a lot of points. We saw Darren Waller absolutely explode 2 games ago against the Jets, 17 targets, 13 receptions, 200 yards. It's a ton. 48 DraftKings points. That is a whole hell of a lot. Last week he had a good game too, 10 targets, 7 receptions. And look, if Ruggs is out, he's going to get targeted again. With him being the cheapest guy out of those 5, Makes a lot of sense to put him, and the volume should be there. Put him in your lineups. Makes a whole lot of sense. I like this game because you don't have too many guys behind the starters that are going to come in and get a lot of playing time. Like you have Jason Witten, who could come in behind Waller, but not a guy I'm terribly worried about. He is not going to stretch the field. He might get a couple first down looks to try and move the chains. He might get a touchdown. I know he did it a couple weeks ago. But you still have these bigger upside guys that are just as cheap as a Witten. And I like it when the player pool's really suppressed. Like I don't like having to deal with 4 running backs, 3 running backs on each team. And I think that's what we have this week. Josh Jacobs below Waller. Not looking at him at captain, but makes sense. Sure, as a flex play, he's the starting running back. He's not going to get too many touches taken from him by Devontae Booker, who did not show up when he got the starting nod a couple weeks ago and killed a lot of lineups for a lot of people. And then Jalen Richard, more of a pass-catching back. Look, Josh Jacobs makes sense. Was limited on Tuesday's practice with an ankle injury, but he should play. Clearly, if he doesn't play, then Booker becomes a great play on a showdown slate, but we're looking for Josh Jacobs to get right back in there. All the offensive players on this slate, whether it's a running back, wide receiver, tight end, quarterback for each team, it's actually going to be hardest to run on the Chargers out of all of those options. So Josh Jacobs, he's okay at the flex, but I don't want him at captain. The Chargers are ranked 8th against the run. Nelson Agholor below him. I'm going to switch it over to flex pricing because I know I'm done with my captains. Nelson Agholor, $7,400. What a resurgence for this guy. He couldn't get it done with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was dropping everything. I mean, that's the joke. Nelson Agholor can't catch. Or maybe Carson Wentz can't throw. It looks like it might be Carson Wentz now, but we also watched Agholor drop some touchdown passes over his career. But just look at what this guy's been doing lately. Man, 24 last week, 7.8 the week before that, 10 before that, 20 before that. He's only had 3 or 4 duds the entire season. And going up against the Chargers, who he's going to be primary lined up against Michael Davis. Like I like the Renfrow spot better, but Michael Davis, you can certainly beat him, and it's not going to be on him the entire time. Not worried about it. Agholor is the wide receiver 1 in this offense, and that feels weird to say. We did not see that coming, and you probably got him as a steal in your season-long drafts. I don't have him. I didn't see it coming, so woe is me. Underneath him, you have Mike Williams. We talked about it earlier. Keep an eye on if he plays. If he plays, sure, it's fine. I mean, he's cheap enough. He'll be the wide receiver 2. I'm a little worried about that questionable tag in his back, but I mean, he should go out there and give it a go, I think, and the ownership will be down on him because other people are probably worried about the back, which might give him a good opportunity or give you a good opportunity to get him at low ownership. I get that. I don't want to go wild with him, though. Like, if I make 10 lineups, give him to me on 3, and I'm going to call it quits there. But, again, going up against the Raiders defense, ranked 22nd. Can you believe that? All right, keep going. 22nd against the pass. So Mike Williams, he's just okay. I'm not considering him in the flex or in the captain spot. Excuse me. Underneath him, we're starting to get to a couple guys that are going to be cheap options. Scrolling on down. Ruggs is out. All right, Tyron Johnson. So the Chargers wide receiver that stepped up last week and really stepped up the past, not against New England because no one stepped up, but against Buffalo looked good too. Last week, 7 targets, 6 receptions, 55 yards, and 1 touchdown, 17.5 points on DraftKings. And a lot of that did have to do with, 1, how bad Atlanta is against the pass, 2, that Mike Williams was out. If Mike Williams comes back in and plays a full role, then Johnson goes down a little bit, right? But that doesn't mean he's completely dead. He's 5,000, and you can go back and kind of take a look at what he's done this season. Look, he only got started in Week 4 against Tampa. There's only been a couple times this season where it paid off on a main slate, but this is a showdown. It could happen. He's not at the top of my list, though. 10 teams, play him on 2. If Mike Williams is in, play him on 2. If Mike Williams is out, play him on 6 or 7 at that price. That'd be a big deal. Mike Williams is out. Upgrade Johnson. Hunter Renfrow, $4,800. I mentioned it earlier. He's probably my favorite Vegas receiver. With no Ruggs, he has the best matchup. I already mentioned it earlier, going against Chris Harris. 68% of the targets he's given up as a catch. And I would expect Renfrow to get some balls here, especially if they're trailing. Even if they're not, doesn't matter. He's getting average 7 targets over the past 3 weeks against Atlanta, the Jets, and Indy. Indy, he got 5 receptions for 38 yards. Hasn't got a touchdown in over a month here. He's only got, 2 on the season? But Renfrow's a guy that can get looked at in the end zone. He's not Darren Waller. He's not a huge body that Carr's going to look to first, but Renfrow's a pretty good guy. I do like Renfrow a lot as a main lineup guy. Excuse me, at $4,800 on DraftKings. You've got the kickers after that. Choose whichever kicker you want. I mean, it's a kicker. What are you supposed to do? If you have the salary, you can get Bagley. If you don't, then you can get Carlson. But don't use your whole salary. We've talked about this before. Pick the team you think's probably going to win. So it makes it a little bit more difficult in this matchup where I think the game will be close and there's going to be a lot of points scored. So typically, you want the kicker on the team that you think is going to win because obviously they're putting up more points. The kicker's tied to those points. What you don't want is a situation where a team's trailing. Say Vegas is trailing by 3 scores going into the fourth. The kicker's dead. He can get you 1, 2, maybe 3 points the rest of the way, but they're not going to be going for field goals. I'm going to lean Chargers kicker here because I think they probably win, even though the Raiders are favored. I kind of like the Chargers in this spot. So I'd probably go Chargers kicker if I just had to pick one, but it's a kicker, so don't blame me if it doesn't work out. The two defenses I'm not really looking at, Chargers or Raiders, no thanks. No more than 10% ownership on those guys for me, and they are not main lineup builds. You have Guyton, the wide receiver for the Chargers, Jalen Guyton, wide receiver for the Chargers, $2,800. It's too cheap, especially if Mike Williams is out. Mike Williams is out, you bump him way up. Look, he's getting plenty of snaps. I mean, he's going to be splitting them with Johnson. But they should be seeing Trayvon Mullen. 62% of passes targeted toward him, he is allowed for a catch. Guyton is a big play guy, although we haven't seen it a lot. It's very boom or bust, but we're talking showdown here. So you pick some of those core 4 big guys up top, and then you mix in your guys like your Guytons, like your Zay Jones, like your Bryan Edwards. I'm kind of jumping the gun, but that's what you would do. Guyton, okay, 10 lineups. I'll put him on 2. Balaj, not very interested in. Justin Jackson, not really interested in. Balaj and Jackson, the 2 backup running backs, are both priced almost identically on DraftKings. You would never play 2 of these guys on the same team. And they shouldn't do much unless like Ekeler gets hurt or Mike Williams is out, in which case I would lean Justin Jackson, but not over the wide receivers. Booker, same thing, not very interested in him. Unless something were to happen to Josh Jacobs, that would vault him up. I'm not very interested. Jalen Richard, he's been getting targeted in the pass game more, especially last week. 5 targets, 4 receptions, 10 yards on 2 rushing attempts, which is we didn't see a lot of Jalen Richard rushing attempts earlier in the season. And he got 8.1 DraftKings points. Okay, that's fine. I think that's his second highest on the season. He scored a touchdown against New Orleans, which I did call actually back in week 2. But I'm not going to chase that. He's not going to get 4 receptions again, I don't think, on 5 targets. I think that's kind of fluky. If you go count up the targets the past 3 weeks before that, it's only 2 targets for 2 receptions. Add those scores together, you get 6 DraftKings points. Add the 3 weeks together, you get 6 DraftKings points. I'm not going to be chasing Jalen Richard. Hope he doesn't beat me. Then we're going to keep looking down to Zay Jones. Zay Jones, $800, and Bryan Edwards, $400. With Ruggs out, one of them, if not both, are going to exceed value. I will be playing Zay Jones or Bryan Edwards probably on every lineup when I need the salary. Yeah, probably every lineup. They're going to be under $1,000 price tag. It's just going to happen unless they don't get targeted at all. I prefer Bryan Edwards. We haven't really seen him pop this year. He's getting 15% of the snaps in 9 games. He has 131 yards, something like that. I wrote it down, but I can't really read my handwriting. Something like that. It's not a lot. He missed 4 games because of COVID stuff or injury. He was out for some reason, but big play guy. A lot of people were high on him going into the season, but he was buried behind Ruggs because you have to get Ruggs going because that's the top wide receiver taken in the draft class. But Edwards is a guy I would look to before Zay Jones, the old Buffalo Bill. You're looking for a boom or bust here. If I made 2 teams, I'm going to hedge it. I'm going to put Zay on one. I'm going to put Edwards on the other. If I made 1 team, I'm going to put Edwards above Zay, I'm pretty sure. Looking down, if there's anyone else cheaper to consider, Jason Witten. I don't think I want Jason Witten over those 2 Vegas wide receivers I just mentioned. He's not going to stretch the field. Mentioned it earlier. Can he get you a touchdown? He can. If they look to him down there in a primetime game, that could happen. You can throw him into the mix with those cheap wide receivers if you want, but I'm on the wide receivers over Jason Witten. Looking down, no one else I like. So, top captains of the slate for DraftKings. We have Keenan Allen, better with Mike Williams out. We have Justin Herbert, second. We have Derek Carr, third. Then we're going to go with Austin Ekeler, fourth. And if you want to take a punt, it's not really a punt, then you can go with Darren Waller, Mr. 200 yards from 2 weeks ago. That's going to do it for us, guys. Go over to FTN Daily. Check out the content. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Go check out my man, Fantasy Guru Drew. Shout out Fantasy Guru Drew on Twitter. He has won 3 of the last 4 showdown slates. He's going for 4 out of 5. That's a big deal. That's a lot of money. Go check him out on Twitter. There's a little shout out. Thanks for watching. I will see you. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.